Okay, understood. Just give me a thumbs up or a quick note on the chat box so that I know everybody is present on the session and we can start. All right. All right, Jyoti, got your message. Cool. So I'm expecting some more people to come in, I'm guessing, because I did have quite the number of people inquiring. So either way, we'll start. Well, guys, I'm sure most of you have attended my last session as well. My name is Veenita Johnson, and I welcome you guys to the 4th edition of Fitness Fellowship. And as you all know, we've been doing this since a couple of months now in association with Kartula Health. So I'd really like to extend my gratitude to the crew at Kartula for organizing this. Well, September is PCOS Awareness Month, and we thought it's just about the right time to spread awareness and shed some more light on that subject. So PCOS, this is a wide topic. Let me just share my screen. Please give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. I hope everybody can see my screen. Okay, perfect. All right. So PCOS is quite a big topic, quite a vast topic, lots of things affecting it. And therefore, it is quite vast to cover in just an hour's interaction. But I did try to cherry pick some things we discussed today as per the requests that we received from our members and audience. So to begin with, what is PCOS? Or polycystic ovary syndrome, polycystic ovary disorder. Yep, lots of things we call it. It is nothing but an imbalance of the female sex hormones. Okay. When we talk about that, now to understand imbalance, we'd first need to take a look at what balance means. All right. I'm sure most of you guys or all of you guys are aware of or have a brief understanding of the female reproductive system. I am not going to be touching on everything over here and get to the technicalities, but to begin with, the first thing, what normally happens and when your hormones are balanced. So we have, of course, the ovaries, which contains lifetime supply of eggs. Yep, your ovaries are the part of your reproductive system which always contains eggs in it. Okay, and eggs are stored in tiny fluid-like structures called follicles. Okay, now these eggs, so if you can see over here, these are your follicles and you have eggs in it. Okay, so now what happens is these eggs are immature till they are triggered. Now, what triggers them is this tiny little gland out here. It's called a pituitary gland, and it is located at the base of the brain. This gland produces hormones that regulate the functioning of the ovaries. Okay. Now, this gland releases two kinds of hormones. Number one, follicle stimulating hormone or FSH, and luteinizing hormone, that is LH. Now, I'm not going to be expecting you guys to remember all of this. This is just for your basic understanding of what happens. All right. Now, just a second, we have participants coming in. Okay. So the pituitary gland releases these hormones generally. Now, what happens first? First, in the follicular phase, after the pituitary gland releases the first hormone, that is FSH, into the bloodstream, it reaches your ovaries. Okay, it reaches the ovary. Now, when it reaches the ovary, three things happen. Okay, number one is several eggs start to mature. Those eggs inside those follicles, several of them start to mature, and those follicles expand. Okay, much like growing in size and then your cells expanding. Now, once the follicles expand, they release an estrogen, the female sex hormone, estrogen. It is generally required for, it's responsible for the development and regulation of female sex reproductive systems. Now, once this estrogen levels reach a certain limit, the pituitary gland then releases the second hormone. Yes. Do we have questions? Guys, do we have questions? Okay, all right. I just heard somebody call my name, so I just had to stop. All right, just a second. All right, so we were at the part where your follicles release estrogen, and once it, we were talking about how the estrogen levels reach a certain limit. Now, after they reach this certain limit, the pituitary gland releases the second hormone, which we spoke about, that is LH, luteinizing hormone. Okay, now it sends a surge of this hormone to the ovaries, and one out of many of those follicles open up and release the egg through the fallopian tube, where it goes and awaits fertilization. Now, this women can relate with that time of the month, okay, when the egg is there sitting for fertilization, and when it is not fertilized under normal circumstances, if this egg is not fertilized, then the egg and the lining of the uterus sheds and you have your periods. Now, this was all a normal, balanced hormonal system. Okay. Now, all of this happens. Okay. Now, whenever this happens under normal circumstances, you have your periods on time, you have no problems, you don't miss your periods, etc., etc. Now, if you have PCOS, the same hormone, the luteinizing hormone, which we were talking about, this is released abnormally high amounts. Okay. When this is released in abnormally high amounts, it disrupts the menstrual cycle. Okay. So then you stop getting your periods, you suddenly stop, you suddenly gain weight, etc. Okay. So what happens is your follicles don't mature when you have abnormally high amounts of luteinizing hormone. Your follicles won't mature, your egg doesn't get released. And when there is no egg, there's nothing to be fertilized. Therefore, no periods. Now, what happens when those follicles, when these eggs don't mature and reach, the follicles don't dissolve. The other immature follicles which we are talking about, those don't mature and they turn into small fluid-like sacs, which are called cysts. Okay. Your ovulation doesn't occur, like I said. Immature eggs turn into cysts, pretty much like this. Okay. Guys, are we following? Till here, are you guys clear about what happens when somebody gets PCOS, or what happens normally if you don't have? Okay, perfect. Now, 2 reasons for somebody having PCOS. Okay. Number 1 is genetics. Now, genetics is, now you can't know that, if you're born with it, you will not know exactly instantly. You can't do anything about it. And most of the studies have proved that about more than 30% of females who have PCOS have inherited it from their genetics. So either your parents had it, or your mother had it, or your sisters, your relatives, immediate family, somebody or the other has it. And therefore you have it. Genetics is not in our control. Okay. So other option is, the other cause is lifestyle habits. Not everybody has PCOS because they have genetically inherited it. Okay. A lot of them, and especially women from the urban culture, have the wrong lifestyle habits, which directly lead to PCOS. Okay, we will be discussing that. So genetics is not in our control. Lifestyle habits are, and let's see what we got to do. When we talk about lifestyle disorder, PCOS is not just the one thing. Okay, lifestyle disorder, the roots of it is eating processed foods, unhealthy diet, inactivity, sedentary lifestyle, smoking and alcohol, lack of sleep, lack of rest. All of these things combined lead to either of these conditions. So now tell me, at least one of y'all who, if not themselves, don't know anybody with at least one of these conditions. I'm sure most of you guys must know at least one person who has either one or all of these conditions. Right? I'm sure you guys can relate with it. You must be knowing a lot of people must be coming to you and telling you, what to do. I'm feeling anxious. I have a lot of stress. No matter how much you work, there's still a lot of stress. There's work not getting done. You're just not happy all the time. You just end up binge eating, stress eating. All of those things lead to either one or all of these conditions. Okay, so the root cause is your lifestyle. So this is the first thing that you need to sink in. Let's sink in. So because the bare minimum that you think is not going to be a big deal is the root cause. All right. So an unhealthy lifestyle looks pretty much like this. Okay. So what to do? Although we know that PCOS is a condition which we don't really have a lot of, it does not really have a cure, but there are 100 things that you can do to control it, to manage it, to ensure. And yes, it is unfair to a level that, some people who have inherited genetically and really blame themselves for having a very uncomfortable situation there with that condition. But there are things which you can do. You might have to just be a little more dedicated than most of us, right? The first thing you got to do is work out. Okay, you have got to work out. Now, most of my clients, a lot of people who I know, they have asked me, Veenita, what is the perfect workout for PCOS? Because not everybody can do any kind of exercises, especially when it comes to yoga. When it comes to cardiovascular exercises. And then some people tell me that, yoga should be really good. And some people just don't want to get up and lift weights. So I'm here to burst that bubble. There is no specific exercise for PCOS. Okay. The only exercise for PCOS is the one you do consistently every single day. You can choose what exercise really makes you feel good, really uplifts you, lifts your spirits up. If it is yoga, go ahead and do yoga. If it is running, go ahead and do running. Go ahead and run, skipping. If you want to lift weights, whatever you want to do, whatever makes you feel better, okay? That would be your ideal workout. Yoga to a degree helps you also manage with stress. So it is promoted a little more than any other exercise because stress contributes towards your PCOS symptoms, right? So therefore, yoga is promoted more than other exercises. However, you can choose your exercise the way you want to, okay? And go ahead and just stick to it consistently. The second thing you can do is rest like a baby, rest like a pup. You must give your body enough amount of sleep, which will help your hormones to regulate and stay stabilized. Lack of rest, you might feel externally that you're being able to add more value, you're able to work more, etc. But your body needs that rest. And when you don't give your body that rest, your body gets stressed. And when there is stress, it releases the stress hormone, which is, again, cortisol, and that contributes adversely towards PCOS, weight gain, etc. Yep. So rest well. Third, manage stress. Chill consciously. You need to take your time out. You need to de-stress. You need to socialize. You need to also spend time with yourself, meditate, try to bring in more composure, accept more of what is good in your life. Stop trying to feel uncomfortable under your own skin. It is just a condition. Okay, and it can be managed. So manage your stress well. Another thing that you should be doing, eat right. Okay. So people have said this often that, because of PCOS, I have weight gain. I don't really eat. That's why I gain. So this really goes back in the days. Okay. And no offense to the parents of the millennial these days, but it's pretty much from the time we were kids. All of us have a chance of developing, resistance to insulin. But it is triggered most in the people who have a constant habit of eating the wrong, less nutritious food, like your processed foods or your very high in simple carbs foods, and then sugars and whatnot. And you end up overfeeding yourself because they get really converted into glucose very fast, and your body ends up storing most of it than using it because you're not even moving much, right? So from childhood, if you are getting into a habit of eating the wrong foods, and considering our culture, we have lots of kids always asking for sweet stuff. Kids who have a sweet tooth and they like to eat junk, and parents don't want to disappoint them, and then you give it to them, not really thinking about the future. Yep. And that's when the problem starts. So some females, once they reach their childbearing age, this hormonal imbalance starts to act up. Okay. Now, what happens when you continuously eating high calorie foods, having a high calorie diet, having less of nutritious foods like greens and vegetables and etc., you're constantly spiking your insulin levels. Okay. Now, insulin is nothing but the key to the lock of your cells. Yes, the insulin hormone opens up, unlocks your door to the cells to allow glucose in and store it as energy to be used later. Now, if you're constantly eating and eating and eating, now that is only to regulate your blood sugar levels, right? Because there's too much of sugar in your blood. Now, your entire system of insulin is disrupted. Because it is happening again and again and again, and you're asking for more and more and more insulin to regulate your blood sugar levels, they become resistant to it. Your cells become resistant, and therefore your blood sugar levels keep spiking up. And because of that, going back to that luteinizing hormone, which is released in excess during PCOS, together, this develops a different hormone, which is called testosterone in women. That is your male hormone. That has an androgenic effect on you. So women with PCOS find a lot of male patterns. They have facial hair, they will have acne, they will have, their ovulation is disrupted. And along with that, a lot of other issues like diabetes, risk of diabetes, other cardiovascular issues, cholesterol high, and whatnot. So all of these things are just happening because you're not eating right. Okay. The one way that you can really regulate all of this is by eating the right foods. Now you'll ask me, Veenita, what is the right food to eat in PCOS? I'll tell you what is not the right food to eat. Processed foods. They really are never nourishing. They and if you ask me what's processed, everything that has a shelf life is processed. So stop having processed food. It's just generally not good for your health. Okay. So therefore, what should you resort to? You could eat your greens. That will help you the most, giving you nourishment, vitamins, minerals, etc. Enough amount of good minerals in your body, which will help you stay nourished. Then you can have your protein. Protein will further help you in your overall maintenance, weight maintenance. You will have to eat a lot of fruits, things which are fresh. These are the things which you will be able to eat, and over a period of time, be able to lose weight. When you lose weight, it will automatically, you will feel better as well. And your entire regulation of your hormones will happen. It'll start getting slowly and steadily in control, not reversed, but in control. Okay. So yeah, that's what happens. And that's what you can do by eating right. Another thing that you can do is know yourself. Okay. When we're talking about something like PCOS, you must not just ignore the symptoms. A lot of things are connected to PCOS. Like we discussed, excessive hair growth, there is baldness, there's cysts, irregular or missed periods, insulin resistance, fatigue, acne, mood changes, all of these things. If you have symptoms, firstly, if you've noticed that you've missed your periods, if you have irregular periods, that is the first intonation that you should go and get it checked. You shouldn't just be happy that, oh, I'm not going to get my periods, no more cramps. That's not going to happen. It is an indication of something going wrong. All right. So therefore, pay attention to your body. Another thing that happens is if you see there is hair growth, or if you're feeling very fatigued, if you're getting acne, these are the things, again, you should take under control, take under consideration, and ensure that you get it checked by your doctor. Okay. Initially, there could be some, if there could be some medication as well that is given, but I would recommend not to rely completely on the medication and continue to eat what is wrong. medications only help you so long. It's only temporary relief. Okay. At the end of the day, those are also something which is going to help you just now, right now, to evade the effects. But if you really do go ahead and set your eating patterns right, set your sleep cycle right, if you eat the right foods, you will not really need those medication in the long run. You will be able to control it without it. Yep. So some of the medications which people give. Okay, we have people entering. Just give me a second. Hi guys who've just entered. You've missed almost 75% of it. Okay, so if you are having these small signals from your body, don't ignore them. Just get them checked at the earliest and start taking precautions. Yep. That said, there are some myths also which I would like to cover. Okay. For starters, people say it's a rare disease. PCOS is not a rare disease. Okay. It is so common that there is 1 out of 10 women have PCOS. Okay. And because of that, I would say that it is not something which is really really something that you should be disheartened about, or start cursing yourself as why did this happen, or go all negative on it. It is something that you cannot avoid. Okay. Unless, of course, if it is genetics. So it is not a rare disease. A lot of women are dealing with it, and a lot of women are helping each other to overcome the negative effects of it. Second thing is irregular periods equals to PCOD. Okay. This is also a myth. Every time you miss a period, it is not because of PCOD. Okay. So however, if you do have irregular periods, you must get it checked. You shouldn't ignore it. Okay. So, but you can't even conclude that it is PCOD. If there is one more myth, that if you have PCOD, you cannot conceive, which is absolutely wrong. There are external methods of conceiving these days as well. And if studies have shown that when people have taken really dedicated efforts towards changing their lifestyle habits, they have been able to conceive naturally as well. However, there has to be special precautions taken. There has to be more care given, constant monitoring during pregnancy, but it is absolutely wrong that you cannot conceive. Okay, it does negatively affect the chances, but it is completely in your control. So PCOS is not a death sentence. Okay, PCOS is something, like I said, again and again and again, it comes up to the same thing. It can be controlled, and you are the one who makes or breaks your body. So if you choose the right lifestyle at the right time, and as parents, most of you guys, if you are parents, if you choose to feed your children the right thing, even if they are prone genetically, they will still be able to curb the negative effects. And as a matter of fact, I do know a couple of women who have PCOS, and they are fitness enthusiasts. One of them even lifts weights, heavy lifting. Her PCOS, again, there's no cure, so it's still there, but she has beautifully been able to control the effects, and she is not at all obese. Okay, so it is something that can be in your control. PCOS always causes weight gain. Like I said, it's pretty much the other way around. Weight gain will could be a definite cause of PCOS in women of childbearing age. Okay, so if you're gaining a lot of weight and you're becoming obese and you develop insulin resistance and lots of your hormones are all over the place, then with obesity comes a bunch of things which really affect your endocrine system in a very negative way. So PCOS can be the reason of it, but PCOS is not the reason only for weight gain. Okay. Of course, it becomes difficult for women with PCOS to lose weight, but that has to be a constant effort because you are so constantly stressed out and you are demotivated. You don't really get consistent with your workouts. You have to do it because your health does come first, right? So there is no cure to PCOS, which we all know now. However, you can change your lifestyle habits now before it's too late. Yep. We do see a lot of women struggling with it. And the worst part is that the effects, the risk that comes out along with it. You just start with PCOS, but you develop diabetes, you develop cholesterol levels high, blood pressure spiking, and your heart diseases, other heart diseases, all of that comes along. And that could be very challenging. Yep. If you don't know how to deal with it or who to talk to, discuss with our healthcare professionals at Cartula Health as well to be able to manage your PCOS with a right mindset. Okay. And that will definitely help you evade the negative effects of it. That's the least you can do. You can't really you don't have a cure. So the least you can do is take care of your health and ensure that you're eating right, mindfully. In fact, mindful eating is one of the most important things to be able to eat the right amounts. So mindful eating means you're not really distracted. Let's say these days, people have their mobile phones in one hand and then they're eating with the spoon in the other hand. They're watching something and they're eating. So when this happens, you're not being able to focus on food and you don't really feel full. You don't think that you feel full, but you've eaten enough. Yeah. So then you end up eating more than what you're supposed to. And you're not able to measure that amount. So mindful eating is very important. Just focus on your food. Food is beautiful. It's keeping you alive. It's giving you energy. Focus on it. Take it as meditation. Only focus on that food while you're eating. Understand the flavors, how palatable it is, and enjoy your food. Yeah. Our parents, our grandparents, if you see previous generations, a lot of them, they might have had PCOS and they did not really have some paleo diet or GM diet or keto diet or anything. They were just eating food mindfully, the food which they like to eat every day at home. Okay, so they would include their pulses, they would include their lentils and their green vegetables and all of that and whole wheat, and they would still be fine. They would still be able to maintain that weight. But the urban lifestyle now, because of the availability of so much junk and so much sugars and the kind of rush it gives you, because of all of that, people have gone astray with the whole mindful eating thing, with the whole nourishment thing. So that's what you need to take care of. Veenita asks, can we have tea at least once in a day? Absolutely, you can. There is no study that shows that you can't really have a certain food. You have to have that in the right proportions. Okay, so if you like tea, have tea. But just know that if you're having tea, you should know how to compensate for it here and there. A little here, a little there. And when you're eating in less quantity, there is less spike of insulin also in your body. So with time, that gets reversed. Okay, so then you'll be able to regulate and you can have whatever you like. But consistency with workout. Your workout is very, very, very important. Yep. If I any other questions? Well, I'm free to take questions, guys, now. If you have any. what should we avoid eating? Manya, we should definitely avoid eating processed foods. Anything by processed foods, I mean anything with a shelf life. Um, Eat more of seasonal stuff, more local stuff. Uh, Go to your fruit vendors on the streets. Prioritize your foods, fruits and green vegetables, and avoid eating a lot of junk, processed food, foods with high saturated fat or high levels of uh, just high fat level fats foods. Should Is dairy bad? Again, there's not been a lot of studies showing that dairy is bad. However, the processed foods out of dairy, that you can avoid. Okay, whatever is processed, you have to avoid it. So if you're talking about pure cow milk, I wouldn't say no to that. But if you're talking about cheese spread, I'm sorry, no, you should avoid that completely. Got it. So at Hit and Run also, we do similar workouts as we were talking about, because we try to indulge into our body weight, using our body weights to work out. If any of you guys are interested in taking a trial session as well, we would love to have you around. And our workouts are completely online. So there is no hassle of traveling. There's no hassle of, you can really manage your time well, because it's mostly for people out there who are working from home. Like myself, I work from home as well. So I understand the importance of physical activity, the daily dose of physical activity. Sanjana is asking, please advise correct way to take fenugreek seeds water. Sanjana, when it comes to fenugreek seeds water, it is, I wouldn't be very sure. So I don't want to give you something that I'm not quite, tell you something that I'm not quite sure about. I've never really tried fenugreek seeds water, although a lot of people say that, it is really good for health and things like that. I could share a couple of links with you which have evidence on how it could be helpful or not. Okay, I could do that for you, and probably you can find your best way of making it. How many hours we have to work out, guys? A bare minimum of 30 to 45 minutes of workout on a daily basis, or on an alternate day basis is also fine. Okay, if you're doing alternate days, I think 1 hour a day is fine. And if you're doing daily, 30 to 45 minutes is also fine. Okay, which could include your little warm up, a main workout, and a few stretches. You could also go for walking. You could go for cycling, swimming, whatever you like. Dhara says, I'm a yoga trainer and my students are teenagers and they have problem of PCOS. Please suggest some yoga poses. I would, Dhara, I could provide you some information about that through my trainer, who is a yoga teacher as well, through a yoga trainer. I am not specialized in yoga, but I do know of some things. However, I would rather prefer the professionals to do it. So I can get you hooked with my trainer, and he could definitely help you out, because he also teaches a lot of people. A lot of people do gain a lot through yoga poses as well. And that's why I think my trainer would be the best person to help you out. Why don't you just, if you have my number, you can, or if you have my email ID, just drop me your details and I will get my trainer to get back to you personally and discuss this. Awesome. Sanjana, how many steps and calories per day? Well, I'm not really going to comment on the number of steps. I don't really have never really counted them for myself. But I think the way why people do that step counting is so that psychologically they have a target to achieve and they end up achieving their daily activity level through it. However, if you're talking about how many calories, it completely depends upon what your BMR is, that is basal metabolic rate. And that means how many calories your body burns at rest, and then your activity level during the day, a lot of other things. Yep. So how many calories would be a little difficult to tell you. However, a basic calorie amount of 1200 to 1500 calories should be enough for most individuals who want to go for a fat loss. But again, I will not give you a definite count in calories. It will be depending upon what your current body condition is. All right, perfect. Please send. Okay, Dhara, I will just send you my details. Just give me 1 second. There you go. I have just shared my email ID. Thanks. Sanjana says, thank you very much. Yes, Sanjana, thank you for attending. I am so pleased that all of you guys could take out of some time from your valuable Sunday. Sundays are always your rest days. I'm sure so it is for me. And I'm so glad that I could connect with you guys on this topic. I'm sure you guys must be having a lot of other information that you wish you could have discussed as well. But it's just so much that we can discuss in a short meeting like this. But I hope I've been able to touch base with few of the most important factors about PCOS. And I would really be happy if you guys could also reach out to me to ask any other, if there are any other topics that you would want me to touch base with. So yeah, I could definitely put together a short content to give you guys an understanding, and you could make sure you could mention the points which you want us to cover, and I could develop content relating to that and get a short meeting session formed up for next month. I have another question, I guess. When I do exercise for belly, I have a pain on my cyst. So yeah, cyst does trigger abdominal pain. Divi, it does trigger abdominal pain, and of course, it is a lot because that abdomen area is next to your core. It really gets contracted when you're doing core exercises, so there would be pain. I would not really recommend having a lot of painkillers for it, please, because painkillers have other side effects which have a deteriorating effect on your kidneys and your liver as well. So, but what I would recommend is going and getting it checked by a doctor immediately. If there are, so there could be some over-the-counter pills which you could take for a span of 20 to 21 days. And they generally, I can tell you this from experience because I have had it as well. And it helped me. Otherwise, sometimes cysts are also surgically removed. So if you do have cysts, you must get them checked. And if you've gotten them once diagnosed, ensure you go for a checkup every 6 months at least. Okay, if not 3. Go for a checkup and get a sonography done and see if, because those cysts are not supposed to grow. Okay, if it's growing over time, you have to get them out. Ma'am, what to do if one is suffering with PMS? Well, if somebody is, Sanjana, if somebody is suffering with PMS, PMS is pretty normal. And I think you should be just focusing on the good energy. It gets more of into an emotional thing. I understand because of the whole hormones having to play, you have a lot of emotions at play as well. And you're constantly stressed or feeling low in life generally. So what I could think, what really works for me is when I do have, when I am experiencing that phase of PMS, I end up doing a lot of meditation and breath work. And I try to surround myself with happy people. And I try to keep my head occupied with happy thoughts. And that really helps me out. I don't really remember the last time I've had a cranky period because I am very I'm very dedicated towards not letting myself affect, not letting my emotions get the better of me when it comes to these inevitable changes in life. Yep. So I think what could really help is you trying to reflect on yourself, try to think happy, be happy, take a little control over your emotions, and that could help you regulate that PMS fear. Yes, I think I have tried to cover almost all questions. I hope I have been able to answer your questions, whoever has asked me. If you guys need more information, you can definitely send me an email. I can help you out with a lot of documentation, which I have for myself. I'm glad to share it with you if that helps you at all. And yeah, let's catch up for the next session of Fitness Fellowship with Katula Health next month in October. And I'd be really happy if you guys could probably give some topics which you all want to discuss about, know about, increase your knowledge about, and I'll be more than happy to touch them. Yep. And I would like to thank Priya as well for this, for organizing this whole session today.
Thank you, Veenita. Thank you so much for giving us such good knowledge about PCOS. Basically, you have helped a lot of people by serving all this knowledge. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for joining us. I hope you liked the session. And we have also shared the link with you where you can sign up and can join Miss Veenita for a workout session, for a free trial session. And she can help you with some workout exercises for PCOS and even for managing other disease as well. And even for weight loss. Thank you so much, everyone.
Actually, I am also going to be forwarding one link on this group if you guys want to join in. It's a WhatsApp group link for all my sessions, all my fitness fellowship sessions which happen. So you will get a constant update. There is, I'm just sharing it on the group itself over here so that everybody who wants to join it can join it through this invite link.
Also, we have shared one more link with you guys, and that's for the sign up trial session. Please do sign up for that.
Thank you guys. Have a lovely Sunday. Thank you, Priya.
Thank you. Bye.